Many people believe that life began right here, in the ocean, and that over millions of years, creatures evolved into people like me. Arms, legs, minds, and a spirit that could create something like what's on display here at Revere Beach. Art. Welcome to the annual New England Sand Sculpting Festival. A display of meticulous and somewhat fantastic art. An assemblage that seems to grow every year. It was an idea started by a guy from Saugus. See that guy over there? It was really his idea. This is Sean Fitzpatrick from Saugus. Wasn't this whole sand sculpting idea years ago here on Revere Beach? Wasn't this your idea?
Well, we came up with this plan to do something really big on Revere Beach, yeah. So we laid this all out.
And when did it start years ago? How many years ago?
Oh, it started with one sculpture 5 years ago on Revere Beach. We did a Celebrate Revere event, and it was so successful that the partnership, the Revere Beach partnership, had contacted me and asked how we could make it bigger. So my wife and I put together a plan and sat down with the partnership over the course of that next year, and we put on a 3-day event the first year, and it's just grown ever since.
How big is it now?
It's probably one of the largest in New England, and certainly one of the best events, because we actually get some of the most talented sculptors in one place at one time.
How many?
Even the magnifying glass.
This is the family of this man right here, Sean's mentor. This is Sean's mentor, an artist, and seeing Sean's creation for the first time. Are you his?
I'm one of his daughters, yeah. Carol.
What do you think of what Sean has created here, Carol?
It looks just like him, and it's just amazing. What an honor for him to do this. I told him in an email that he's touched our family. Like he doesn't even realize how much he's touched us, and you know, this is just beautiful.
And I'm sure, Sean, that their family, their father, touched you as well.
Yeah, I was lucky to know him. I was very lucky to know him. It was a blessing.
Norman Gautreaux. There's a monster, a very creatively made monster by a young man from Revere. And in fact, I'm with the state representative who represents this area, Representative Kathy Ann Reinstein. What does this mean to Revere Beach, this whole sand sculpting festival?
This sand sculpting festival is huge to Revere. We have people coming to this beach who haven't been here in years, people who, we're speaking to people that say, I saw it on the news and I just got in the car and I drove down and didn't even know how to get here. And it's so good for the city. We have local artists like Matt Martelli behind me sculpting. We have local artists working in the middle, and we have the world's greatest sand sculptors on Revere Beach, the oldest public beach in the country.
And I was curious, Maddie, how difficult is it to make a monster like that?
Well, it comes out of your brain, and I find it, I love doing it, let's put it this way. As far as difficulty, it's always difficult. Sometimes it's not coming out the way you want it, sometimes it comes out exactly the way you want it, but that's like all art.
Right.
You're working so hard at this, Maddie. What if there's a huge thunderstorm tonight and it rains like crazy?
It does nothing.
Huh?
The water soaks right into the sand, and it doesn't do a thing to it.
Oh,
it's
that's
amazing,
great.
isn't it? I was surprised too, because last year we had a torrential downpour and it didn't do a thing. So the sand's really incredible. It actually makes it easy to work with.
Looks great, Matt. Thanks.
Okay.
Many of the men and women who create these temporary masterpieces do this for a living. They're in competitions for some pretty decent prize money all over the world. Some of them will leave Revere and head for Europe, where I understand this is pretty big business. And they'll compete there. Of course, the bottom line is this. Revere Beach, for a week, has some of the best sculptors, sand sculptors, in the world. It starts with an idea, and that idea becomes a reality with a trowel, some water, some sand, some perseverance, some talent, a talent that's honed over the course of many years.
Oh my God.
And this is where we've come. From the ocean to here. We've come a long way. From Revere Beach, Carl Stevens, WBC News Radio, 1030.